Hey, it's Onesto. If you want to learn how to make future pop, you gotta know how to give your chords emotion, life, and movement. Otherwise, your chords are gonna sound super stale. I know that this stuff can feel really overwhelming at times, so that's why I'm gonna give you some simple but effective ways to make your chord stack sound as compelling as possible. All right, let's get started. Let me show you this work session here. So I just have some saw layers, top, mid, and bass layers. If you want to learn how to do that, I did it in a video, so you can check it out yourself. So here, this is how it sounds just on its own. And the chords, like they sound good, but I think that after a while, if you just hear this on repeat over and over, it just loses that interest. Like I feel like chords like this would sound really good in like a breakdown or where things get really stripped back and you just have like a really big epic moment. But for a drop in like a future pop, future bass style song, you want it to have some bounce, you want it to have a lot more flavor. So this is how we're gonna do this. So here is my processing chain, looks kind of crazy. And then here, all these little effects, this is what we're gonna be modulating with. So let's start off first with volume automation. So right here we have an instance of thermal. I made a video talking about like my favorite ways to use thermal. Check it out. And we're gonna be using one of the tips from that video, which is that you can use this saturation distortion plugin to give you volume automation, which I think is crazy. So here's this LFO. So I just have like this shark fin preset. I made that and named it myself. Here we go. So what this LFO is modulating is the output of our third stage of distortion. So it's just simply volume automation, but already it just has rhythm to it. And then you can bring it up to an eighth. All right, it's super cool. So what we're gonna be doing is that if we just kept this 1/4 throughout the whole drop, once again, might get a little boring because it's just doing the same thing over and over and over again. So what I like to do instead is that throughout this drop, we're changing it. It'll go from 1/4 and then it'll go to an eighth rhythm and might even go to a 16th rhythm. So we're constantly getting different variations of volume automation, allowing your listener to be so intrigued and amazed at all your producer skills. All right, so what I can hear happening is like dun, 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 dun. All right, so right here, boom. I'm gonna put that little thing there. I have some notes on the side here. Cool. So at 60% in this little automation lane, we're gonna be at what is it? An eighth. Perfect. And then what I like to do here and make it exact. Cool. So already it's like way more interesting. I'm going to balance a lot of things right now. Okay, we're back in business. Sorry about that, I guess. Okay, so let's get back to this modulation. So I can hear going back to eighth notes here. I go sloppy there, and then I clean it up here. It's just so much easier that way for me. All right, so now I want to plop in some more points here. We're going to do like some steps. So now that is going to have a fun little eighth, and then we're going to take it to a 16th, which is at 74%. What are you doing there? Okay. I might add in one little thing here. It might be a little boring right here. I can see it going like one beat going a quarter and then back to an eighth. This might be not long enough. Let's try it out. Oh yeah, I just need a little bit more. Okay, so that's already way more interesting than what we had before. This is before. Which is be really cool and a big epic sounding part, but we want to automate it. Yeah, that's way cooler. So now let's add in some more modulation with effects. So what I want to do is assign, let's see, I have a big fancy MIDI controller right here. And I just assign this cutoff knob to one of my physical knobs. So I'm going to write this in just by using my hand. Yeah, that's going to be really fun to do. Let's just go for it. Yeah, that's fun. And one other effect I want to modulate in is using another plugin from Output called Portal. And this thing did a lot of crazy cool stuff. At first, it was really hard for me to figure out how to use this. I want to make another video just showing how to best use this plugin because I think it's super powerful, but misunderstood. This is why it's misunderstood, because when you have it on full wet, see how it's like, whoa, like really pretty, but how do I use that? So what I like to do is modulate the dry wet knob. So it'll go dry and then I'll just move it up to wet. Once again, let's assign this to my keyboard here. Fun. And now I'm gonna be drawing in with this knob, with the dry and wet of the Portal. It'll sound pretty cool. Turn this off. Here we go. Whoa. Okay, so it's obviously way too crazy and too much. So I'm just gonna highlight them all, press down, bring them away lower. Fun. So let's hear it all together. Okay, I can listen to that much longer than a simple 8 bars. And once again, I just want to recap what we did. Just open up Thermal, and honestly, you can use Thermal, you can use LFO tool, you can even use Serum. There's a little, LFO thing that you can use to modulate volumes in there. Or Cable Guys' Volume Shaper is also really, really good for this as well. So all I did was assign an LFO to the volume and modulate the rate of the LFO, as you can see here. So if we're going from a faster LFO rate to slower, and you're just all like giving the audience variation, you want to keep surprising them, but not overwhelming them. And I think volume automation with the LFO rates is a great way to do that. Something else we did was use effects and we're simply modulating something that's pretty obvious, like a filter cutoff knob. That's an obvious thing to modulate, or the dry wet amount of a really cool effect like Portal. And when you combine all those things, you make something static into something that's much more alive. And of course, there's a lot of other things I can do to these chord stacks to make them sound cleaner and brighter and like more full and lush. But I just wanted to show you how using like volume automation effects makes your chords sound way more cool and interesting. And unfortunately, if you just watch this video, you're not going to become a better producer. I'm sorry. I wish this video could do that for you. To become a better producer, you got to put these things into practice. So here's like a plan of action that I would recommend to help you level up your skills. So what I would do is first set a timer for 20 minutes. Those 20 minutes are going to prevent you from tweaking settings until 3 or 4 in the morning. After you have your 20-minute timer, just like bang out a nice little chord progression, put a Serum preset on there that has just a cool sound. And what I would recommend is to make sure your serum preset doesn't have volume automation attached to it yet. I want you to like assign that yourself. So start off with more of a blank slate, something that's big, full, and lush, and then add some of that volume automation with the LFO tool or plugin of your choice. And then go through your chord progression and add those variations in the rate, going from like, maybe it's an eighth to a quarter to a 16th. If you want to go super crazy, go to a 1/64th, just try all these different variations and just kind of get used to that. And then once you're a bit more comfortable with that, start adding in some effects, modulate some things like a filter cutoff knob or a dry wet slider of some other plugin. And what I would do is start off pretty simple, start off pretty basic and reserved. And then as you're going through up that 20 minutes, just keep ramping and amping it up. You want to go as far as you can, even fail, even make your your beautiful sound into something that's really noisy and awful, because I want you to see what it's like to go past a point of no return. Because then you just, you reel yourself back, and then you're starting to develop your own style, develop your own sound, which is something that all producers want to achieve. And you just gotta practice this thing, and just give it some time. Practice, do that 20-minute exercise a couple times a week, and eventually you'll get to a point to where it's just really second nature. And adding in modulation is not scary for you at all. And if you feel lost, go back to this video, let it help you out. But I know you'll get it, and before you know it, you'll be that much closer to being a future pop, future bass pro. All right, I hope that you learned a whole lot from this video. If anything was helpful, just let me know in the comments below. And also subscribe if you want to watch more tutorials like this. And I'll see you later. Bye.